Hey guys, guess what? It's real, okay? And it does exist. It's been 2 years. We've been waiting for it. Yeah, the snow is real too. My camera's getting covered in it. I don't care, it's IPX weatherproof. So this is something of an unboxing video, but I'm going to kind of tell you why this is a significant product. Usually, if you're familiar with my channel, I typically do 3 videos about something that is significant as this. And the next video that I'm going to do is actually where I'm going to put this thing on a scope, which is actually this one right here, and I'm actually going to test it for flexure. I'm going to test it for things like backlash, and then the third video that I'll probably do will be an actual review where, you know, this is what I think of it after using it for a while. So this was introduced 2 years ago, all right, at NEAF, and it actually kind of created a big splash, a bigger splash, I think, than ZWO was actually expecting it to. They were really surprised at the amount of interest there was in this product. And I'll tell you why. There's 2 different reasons why this product is so interesting. Number one, the price tag, okay? It's significantly lower than a lot of other camera rotators that are out there. There are a bunch of these out there by other manufacturers, but they're all quite expensive and they all have a heavy learning curve. The second thing that this thing promises is simplicity and ease of use, because it's being tied to the ASI Air. You know, although it does have drivers and stuff that will allow you to use it with things like Nina or Sharp Cap or whatever. Brings a new dimension of astrophotography to a market that might otherwise be kind of shut off from it, because let's face it, we're adding complication to our astrophotography, and so, you know, that is something we need to make things easier with. So, what are my impressions? Kind of hefty. Feels pretty solid and everything. I know ZWO has spent 2 years trying to get this thing really right, and I think a lot of that had to do with just the amount of interest there was in it, and they were like, whoa, okay, this is going to be a big product, we need to make sure we get this thing right. So this guy looks like it's basically just a different size threaded ring set for it, so you can use, you know, other types of cameras. And in here, Allen wrench and USB cord. Okay, so which I did already open. But anyways, this is USB-C, and I like the fact that this is USB-C because USB-C is kind of a bit the future. It's a little bit more of a delicate plug than the older USB was, but that's okay. The cool thing about USB-C is that it can be plugged in this way. And it can also be plugged in this way. It's, you know, up or down, doesn't matter, okay? Which is really cool because keeping this cord kind of out of the way and, you know, kind of binding it to your optical assembly, it just gives you more options. And that's kind of a long looking cord. I'm probably gonna cut this thing down and solder it back together to a shorter length, which is not an operation for the faint of heart, I might add, because the wires in USB 3 are kind of tiny. They're like 24 gauge. So the last thing we have in here is, it's the directions basically, you know, which, you know, kind of gives you a basic overview. Here's how to use it with the software and so forth. And they give you a complete list of all I call how to find back focus with this thing, and also how to mount it with a filter wheel and so forth. It does add another additional layer of complication. I am almost certainly going to eventually combine this thing with my mono duo camera. I have a 2600 duo that's mono, and that's what this is eventually going to go on. But for now, for me, this is the first time I've used a rotator. I'm going to use it with one-shot color camera to kind of do my initial testing, and also with this particular scope. This is an SB Bony 122 Apo triplet. Has a nice big image circle, and taking flats with this and, you know, so forth tend to be very easy to do. So that's why I'm using this scope, even though it's kind of a bigger scope. Something to address here with flats. So typically, like, I have friends who have camera rotators from other brands that they've had for years now, and what you typically need to do is every single time you change the rotation angle on this thing, you need to take a whole new set of flats. And obviously that sounds kind of complicated. I mean, like, that's going to be a lot more calibration frames in your calibration library. Okay, I personally work from a library of calibration equipment or frames. One of the things I'm going to try with this thing is I'm going to set it at 0 and do a set of flats, set it at maybe 15 degrees or 30 degrees and 45 degrees, 90 degrees, so forth, and take flats at all of those different angles and kind of see how they calibrate out and so forth. Now, a word of caution. If you have dust on your filters and if your equipment is dirty, okay, that's not going to work for you. You're just going to have to take flats every single time you rotate this thing, which is one of the reasons why you should have your gear clean, okay? You should keep it clean. If you have dust motes show up, take your gear apart, clean it, and put it back together. Usually it will stay clean for 3 to 6 months, even if you're in a very dirty environment, as long as you're not opening this thing up. And so that's how I'm going to kind of try to operate and see, because every scope has an image circle center, and often that image circle center is off-centered, okay, a little bit. And as you rotate the sensor, obviously it's going to change the position of that image circle on the sensor, and so that's kind of one of the reasons why you need to take a new set of flats. And if you had dust on there, well, it's going to change the position of those dust motes, obviously, and also they're probably going to fall or move around or change positions on the glass as you rotate it. So, you know, like I said, just get your equipment clean. You know, I've done videos before showing how to properly put filters together where they're clean. Like I've had other astrophotographers look at my data and say, "Did you already calibrate this?" I'm like, no, there's just no dust motes in my images. That's the way you should image. Okay, hope I haven't vented on the dust motes too much. But so anyways, yeah, and another thing of interest is going to see how flexure in the tube of the telescope is going to affect your flats, because let's say if you do a meridian flip, obviously the thing is going to sag a certain way, you know, and how that affects the imaging should be interesting to watch, especially as I do different rotation angles. Now, who is this kind of target or item kind of targeted for? What's really cool about it is because the price tag is lower, because the learning curve should be easier, especially with the ASI Air, I think it will open up a whole new section of the market of people who are not as advanced, all right? And basically kind of like bring camera rotator options, so to speak, to, you know, a bigger section of the audience, essentially. And another cool thing about it is that it really does kind of open up a lot of compositional aspects of your astrophotography. Now, this right here, this is a 2600 duo, and I have a mono duo as well. That's a 2/3 ratio sensor, which means it's a more panoramic type sensor. In other words, it's much wider than it is taller. Now, in the past, a lot of the astrophotography I've done has been with a 4/3 sensor. You know, including my ZWO, most of my other ZWO cameras are 4/3 sensors. Those sensors are squarer, okay? In other words, their height to width ratio isn't as extreme because it's a 4/3 ratio versus a 2/3 ratio. And with those cameras, I didn't really feel a tremendous need for a camera rotator. So maybe if you're somebody who for example, has the IMX 533 sensor, which is a square 1-inch sensor, something like that, a camera rotator may actually not be a terribly appealing thing for you, because as you rotate the frame, it doesn't really change the composition a lot. However, if you've got a 2600, you know, whether it be a mono or color or duo like I have, well then that sensor kind of almost begs for something like this. And that was actually something I noticed right away when I first started imaging with these new 2600 cameras, is that often the rotation of my scope wasn't right for the target that I was shooting. And I either wanted to rotate the scope or found myself rotating the scope, and rotating the scope is kind of a pain in the butt, right? This should kind of make it a lot easier to do. And it's going to, maybe if you're an astrophotographer, for example, who has kind of like shot a lot of targets already, and you're kind of like, man, I'm kind of getting bored. Well, with a camera rotator like this, it's going to open up a whole new set of aspects, ways that you can rotate the frame to make the image more interesting, and perhaps, put more art into it, so to speak, by, exploring different combinations that are unique to you. And that is certainly a great thing, and it kind of will probably help keep you maybe going in the hobby longer and giving you more new things to image. Although if you have a mono camera, you should never run out of stuff to target to image. Lastly, in this video, I just want to thank ZWO for sending this to me so early, and also for some of the other little trinkets that they sent us. They sent me a new hat. I can't find it. My son ran off with it, I think. And then, yeah, they sent the kids some magnets, the stickers and stuff, which they all loved. And they sent my wife an embroidered piece on silk of pandas, which she was pretty thrilled about that. She has it in the kitchen right now. But yeah, so thank you ZWO for those items that we received for Christmas. We will get this thing on a telescope soon, and I will get you some cool data. I know that the measuring that I do on back focus is something that my channel only does. There's no other channel out there like it that does anything like what I do. And it'll be cool to see if there's rotational backlash in this thing, which is something that I will be able to measure down to a 10,000th of an inch. So should be fun.